All right, so I've got Garrett on the phone. He's another musician that reached out about the interview series. So I'm going to go ahead and give him the chance to introduce himself.
Hey everyone, I am Garrett Manning, a longtime musician of over 2 decades. I've been playing music since I was 5 years old. I started on the piano. I can also play guitar, drums, bass, violin. I sing, and I've been in many different bands throughout my life, but I'm finally gone solo, and I'm on the eve of releasing my first fully solo original album. So it's an exciting time for me.
Nice. Yeah, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
Let's go back to, when you were 5 years old and started getting into music. What about it really kind of struck you and made you want to participate in it and then continue doing it?
I believe it all really began with my father. My father was real musical. So growing up, he was always playing the piano. He was always playing guitar to put us to sleep. Like music was just a big part of our lives as children, me and my two sisters. And basically, my sisters took official lessons on piano, and I just found it so interesting that as a 5-year-old, like when they were done practicing, I would just crawl to the piano and try to mimic what I just heard them do. And I kind of taught myself by ear in that method. And music just basically has always been a part of my life and through my family. And it's grown, over the years and become my career now. I feel like it's what I was born to do, basically. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you learned by ear. Did you do like any private lessons or anything?
Eventually, when I was older, I did like around middle school and high school and stuff. But as far as, I mean, and when I say that, I mean strictly on the piano. But as far as guitar lessons, pretty much my father taught me what he knew, and then I just kind of took it from there. Drums the same way. I always joke. I learned on my steering wheel. Like, I was never given drum lessons. It just kind of came naturally to me. And I guess I've been very blessed to have that talent. But
Okay, and then did you start like working with your friends or other musicians to try to have like a garage band type of thing, or what was kind of keeping you involved in it?
right. Basically, when I got into high school is when it really took off, and I started joining, the high school musical electives that they offered, whether that was orchestra or chorus, or even there was this group called Breeze, which is like a contemporary kind of rock group that it was an actual class that you could go around, perform around the county and stuff. And around that time, I started meeting other musicians who had similar interests, and we started hanging out. And in high school, there's those cliques. You have your sports people, you have your artsy people, you have your computer people, and I guess I fell into the artsy people crowd and started surrounding myself with like-minded people. And yeah, we started garage bands, when I was 14 years old, I think, and just took it from there. And with every band, it just got more and more serious and serious.
Okay. And so how many iterations of different bands do you think that you went through? And did you exclusively do guitar and drums for them, or did you kind of move around a little bit?
Basically, I think I've been maybe in like 6 real bands. I kind of dabbled in a few other ones, but and basically we always kind of pursued original music, and I kind of always played the front man. There was one band where I kind of had a little, I'm done with being in the front, and I just wanted to play drums. So like, I joined a band for about 6 months where I was just the drummer. But besides that, I've always been up front. I've always been the guitarist, lead singer kind of deal. And yeah.
So most of the bands that you were trying to get into on like a garage level, you were the front person, the person that spearheaded putting it all together.
Yes, 90% of the time. Yeah.
Okay, sure. And so what kind of do you think informed the type of music that you wanted to make, or did you kind of just approach it very open-mindedly?
Right. Well, as far as original music, I guess I was more inspired by like the '90s rock scene, just because that's about the age I was when I was getting into music. Um, but my father always really instilled in our brains to be very versatile and enjoy all types of music. So um, that helps out when I play with my cover bands because we can play like any genre to please any crowd, you know, and that's fun. But as far as my original stuff, it's more inspired by like '90s rock and maybe a little splash of country too, because like one of my favorite artists of all time is Johnny Cash, you know, obviously. So I do have that country root in me, and but I'm more of like a rocker and at heart. So I try to mix the two together to find a cool balance between the two.
Sure. So, did you kind of keep with that whole circuit after high school, like through like what would have been the college years, and then eventually, how did you reach the current phase that you're in, where you've decided to branch out and just go solo?
Yes, well, all through college, I, I was in a pretty big band called Smilin' McGee. We were based out of Orlando, Florida, and we had some success. You know, released an album. We were on the air. We did some touring and stuff. We were together about 6 years, and I really felt like that band was going to make it. You know, like this was the one after all this time that was going to make it there. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. But then I became actually a music teacher for elementary school, and I taught music for 10 years of my life. And after 10 years of teaching it, I decided I missed doing it again. So I got back into the scene after 10 years, and I quit being a teacher, and now music's my full-time job.
Okay. And so when you decided to quit doing the teaching and commit to music as a full-time job, you didn't think about getting into like a different band? Your sole focus was it's time for me to create and front a band type thing?
Yeah, it's like it's time to make it on my own, because I think I always kind of relied on a partner to be there next to me. Yeah, and I was just finally like, now's the time. I'm almost 40 years old. I'm 39, so like I'm facing 40 in the face, and I just want to do it before it's too late.
Sure,
So
definitely. So
yeah.
you mentioned that you are on the eve of your first major release in that solo environment. Why don't you talk about that a little? What's the I guess message of it? What's how do you feel about the way that it's come out?
I basically believe this whole album is the story of a journey. There's songs on there that I've written when I was 15 years old, but there's songs I've written just a couple of months ago. So it really defines the journey of my life. The people I've met, the places I've been, the things that have made me me. Basically, all these songs are about in one way or another, and it's just about the ups and downs of life and the journey we all go through as human beings. It's beautiful, it's tragic at the same time, but it should be celebrated, and that's kind of the message I try to give. Like, no matter how good or bad you think your life is, at least you're alive, and this is the human experience, basically.
Sure. And then, did you do all the instrumentation for it and the production and recording? How many people did you have to bring in to help you with it?
I'm down here in Florida, but I actually recorded the album up in Nashville at the Hilltop Studios, and it was recorded under AOK Records under their supervision. Mr. Adam Knight, who owns that company, he was producing the album. So I wrote all the songs and I did all the singing, but basically the instrumentation and everything is done by a professional union studio musician.
Okay. But other than that, you wrote all the material and for the most part performed it. Okay. Awesome. So, what are your aspirations for, once it's released tomorrow? Unfortunately, by the time that this actually gets published, it will have already been a couple weeks, but,
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, well, it's officially not coming out till like May, so
Oh,
but there's
okay.
some.
There's plenty of
Yeah,
time
so
then.
we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you said Eve, you meant like the metaphorical Eve.
Yes, well, like my first single, for example, just dropped this week, so it's an
Okay.
exciting time. I'm
Gotcha.
finally on iTunes, I'm finally on Spotify and Amazon, and so it's like it's like getting the ball rolling
Okay.
for what's to
Okay.
come, basically.
So, same question. What are your hopes for it and like aspirations? What would you like to see happen for it?
Yeah, I mean, basically at my age, almost 40, I don't expect to be this big rock star or country artist, but basically my hope and is basically a way to make a living doing what I love. So if I can at least pay my bills with this music, I'll be happy. I don't need to be rich and have a mansion, but if I can pay my bills doing what I love, then that's the goal ultimately. But um, for me personally, for the world, I just hope people find themselves in these songs. Like I said, they're about real life situations and things we all go through. So I'm just hoping that the world can connect with them and find a message in there somewhere that there's hope and that life is beautiful overall.
Awesome. So, why don't you share a couple memories of your time working in music, whether it's when you were a kid learning an instrument or recording your latest record, just something that had a big impact on you.
Of course. Like I said, when I was in Smiley McGee, we got on the radio around here in Florida. And so a really cool memory was the first time we ever heard ourselves on the radio. And we didn't even know it was going to happen. We were up in Tallahassee playing a show. And we'd just gotten into town and our bass player needed new strings. So we're like driving to the local music store to buy him new strings. And all of a sudden on the radio, we hear, come out tonight to, I think it was called Big Daddy's was the venue, and it was like featuring Smiley McGee out of Orlando, and they played our song on the radio. It was the first time we ever heard ourselves on the radio, and we all were just like screaming on the top of our lungs in the car. Like it was such an exciting moment, and it reminded me of that movie, That Thing You Do. There's a scene like that in that movie where they hear themselves for the first time on the radio, and it kind of gives you goosebumps. You know, that was a great moment. Yeah. But also as a teacher, I was very blessed. Like I said, I did it for 10 years, and the relationships I made with those students, and um, you know, I love kids. I never had any of my own, so I always considered my students my kids, and I just love teaching them music and giving them an appreciation for the arts. And I had a chorus and everything, so like the shows we put on were very special to me. I always love those kids, as long as I live.
Cool. So, where can people check out your album once it is released and take a click on your face and find what you're doing?
Well, I do have my own website. It's very basic. It's GarrettManning.com or GarrettManningMusic.com. Either one, it goes to the same website. So that's my official website. The album will be available for purchase off of there. But like I said, every single will eventually get released to Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, anywhere you download music. It's on YouTube. I have my own YouTube channel. Basically, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. It's all under the name Garrett Manning Music. And my name is spelled GarrettManning. So.
Perfect. And so I always
Garrett
like to
Manning.
give the person that I'm interviewing the opportunity to put out their last word. So just a message that you feel resonates with you that you want to put out there.
Okay. Well, the name of the album is Put Your Hand in Mine. And that actually comes from a song that my father wrote. And it's always been, those words always resonate to me. And in fact, it's tattooed on my arm because it just reminds me, like, I just want to take the world by the hand and let them know we're all in this together, good or bad. Like, it'll be okay as long as we stick together. And I just want everyone to be happy. I know we've had a rough couple of years, and it's time to just love each other.